Story 1. Working until you die with only enough hours in the day to work and recover from that work. Story 2. Going out in public while sick is concerning. I understand that sometimes people don't have a choice, but some individuals appear to disregard the risks of spreading germs to those around them. Story 3. Flicking lit cigarette butts out of moving vehicles or into bushes by doorways introduces harmful waste into the environment, especially when they are still lit. Story 4. Everyone is either terrified, enraged, or disturbed by nudity, as if humans are unnatural creatures that no one should ever see. Story 5. Only being able to retire when you are practically dead and in too much pain to enjoy it is disheartening. I know someone who passed away just a couple of months after they retired. Story 6. Insurance of all kinds requires you to pay substantial amounts of money to protect yourself or your belongings, such as your car or house, only for them not to pay out when something happens. Story 7. It would be interesting to see the ages of people as they post. I am over 60. What I find concerning now is how mean people are to each other. There was a time, not that many years ago, when being rude would lead to one being ostracized. Story 8. Alcohol and the drinking culture in many countries worldwide contribute to numerous problems. A visit to any hospital emergency department on a weekend reveals a full waiting area of individuals affected by excessive drinking. In the United Kingdom, taxpayers fund the doctors and nurses working to address these issues. Story 9. Hypersexualization in popular culture, particularly in popular music, is not just accessible but also unavoidable for children. Story 10. Constant racism among all races is exhausting. I don't care what color you are, just be chill. Story 11. Letting children run wild and destroy things. At the age of 5, everyone thinks it's a phase. At the age of 12, everyone thinks it's just expression. At the age of 18, it becomes a felony, and they can't seem to understand why. Story 12. A strange pressure to consume media as much as possible. I don't usually watch more than one episode of a show per day, and I typically save it for dinner. However, people see a 10-episode show and think, oh yeah, you can finish that in one day. I have even seen people say, I should make more time to watch my shows or movies or finish my games, as if it's a problem if they are only engaging in their hobbies at a pace they feel comfortable with. It feels problematic when you start pushing yourself to watch more of a show or play a game just to get it done. Story 13. Sexualized preteen beauty pageant television shows promote the idea that children should conform to adult standards of beauty. It is important to allow children to age naturally. These shows may inadvertently provoke harmful thoughts in adults that would otherwise remain suppressed. Story 14. Capitalism involves spending money on punitive systems such as law enforcement and prisons instead of preventative measures like education, housing, and mental health services. Additionally, health insurance is generally tied to employment. Story 15. In the United States, sports betting is too accessible and incredibly predatory. Every major network promotes it as if it is the best thing ever. Story 16. Recording or taking pictures of strangers, as well as going live with unaware people in the background, would be difficult. I would hate to be a teenager these days. Story 17. North Korea bothers me that we allow a country-sized entity to act as it wishes. I could understand a 1-mile diameter spot in the middle of the ocean, but come on. No, I don't literally mean they are cannibals. I'm just pointing out that we permit some troubling situations on this planet, with exceptions. Why do we, as a global community, allow North Korea to exist as it does? It's not the same as removing culture. This is literally to save millions from a lifelong, torturous lifestyle. Why? Story 18. Completely dismissing the ideas, thoughts, and contributions of others who honor different belief systems is unjust. Story 19. The fact that we have normalized working over 40 hours a week, often in jobs we dislike, just to afford basic necessities is concerning. It feels as though we are all simply cogs in a machine, and we have convinced ourselves that this is how it is meant to be. Story 20. Men cannot call in sick until they have a valid reason, even if we do not feel like working for a few days. Story 21. The first world views the third world as if humans choose to live in squalor and barbarism. Instead, we should reflect on how we have failed so significantly that people are unable to grow and improve over time. Story 22. Making fun of those with empathy and compassion is troubling. Humans have survived this long because of our profound understanding of community and caring for others and our collective well-being, but now it somehow denotes weakness. It's surprising that showing concern is viewed negatively. Story 23. Animals migrate, plants migrate, and heat bands migrate. The borders of national parks do not. They are essentially very large caskets. Story 24. The way we treat animals is troubling. We know they feel pain and pleasure just like we do, yet we allow industries to treat them poorly so we can consume them affordably. An alien race would judge us as barbaric. Story 25. Thinking anything done or made by humans isn't natural. Last I checked, we are part of nature too. A beaver building a dam isn't unnatural, is it? Bonobos going to war and birds and octopuses using tools show that. Story 26. How much fast food and gambling exists today? It will only become a viable option when this becomes one of the few affordable food choices. Story 27. I really dislike the idea that everyone fits into a category. People can share one characteristic with someone else and immediately get categorized as a type. The same goes for statements like, she's not your type, or they're not your kind of people. There are certainly people who share similarities, but it should be you who decides whether you enjoy that person or not. It shouldn't be based on another person's opinion. Many people miss out on amazing friendships, relationships, or conversations because someone appears to be a certain way. If you feel unsafe or scared to be around that person, absolutely stay away. Trust your instincts, but do not decide that you know what that person is about before you've even tried to get to know them. Story 28. I can't get my prescription medication from the same place that prescribed it. I have to take the prescription to another location to have it filled. Story 29. Food waste is a significant issue, particularly considering how much of the food we waste is perfectly edible. Currently, the global average is about 65 kilograms per person per year, with approximately 73% of that being perfectly edible. For every 400 kilograms of food waste in our landfills, over its life cycle, it contributes to 1,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide and 25,000 kilograms of methane being released into our atmosphere. To put this in perspective, 400 kilograms is equivalent to 2 roadside wheelie bins with a capacity of 240 liters each filled to the brim. Sadly, few of us seem to care. Story 30. People are spending a fortune on their cats and dogs, even including pet jewelry, while they see individuals starving in the streets. Story 31. Women should be able to keep safe spaces exclusive to biological women. It is hard to understand when women who have experienced sexual assault or have religious reasons cannot be around men in environments and are shamed for wanting and needing their own space. It is gender appropriation. Story 32. Squatters' rights. Are you telling me that some random person can come into my home, have their mail delivered, and claim a right to my home? I can't just tell them to leave without going through an eviction process. Story 33. Working adults spend most of their lives surrounded by colleagues, managers, and companies they often did not choose, with necessity frequently being the driving force. They spend less time with the people they actively choose to have in their lives, such as children and friends. Despite living in democracies, workplaces are rarely democratic. Do you have a say in the decisions being made, in the type of product or service offered, or in how money is invested? Absolutely not. Most of your waking hours are spent in a non-democratic environment. You are expected to do this for decades, while prospects for retirement diminish with every new administration. It's a daunting reality, yet instead of breaking the cycle, adults often send their children to schools where they also do not choose who they are around, so they learn how to acquire knowledge that will enable them to work most of their waking hours for decades, often with even fewer chances of retirement. Make it make sense. Story 34. Respect your elders. Everyone deserves respect, some more than others. There are some older individuals I would like to address. Why do we have to remain silent simply because someone is elderly? Story 35. Health insurance in general has been frustrating. I have been denied life-changing procedures multiple times for trivial reasons by people or automated systems who have never even asked me about my quality of life. I just have to hope that the medical professionals accurately transcribe what I have shared. Additionally, deductibles are a challenge. I understand their purpose, but I really struggled to afford the care I needed when I had to pay for everything out of pocket. I am currently on Medicaid, but that is only because I cannot work due to chronic pain. I would have loved to address some of these issues earlier before they became this severe. Story 36. I cannot express my thoughts due to the current state of the world. I would face criticism and negativity for being correct while the prevailing views are misguided. Instead, I will address the topic of cheating. Story 37. Annual raises should be a percentage of your salary. Those who start with a larger salary progress ahead even faster. Instead, consider giving everyone the same amount, such as $4,000, for their raise. Story 38. A completely car-dependent society separates us in a way that humans were never meant to be. It is needlessly wasteful of space and energy, making it incredibly inconvenient to do anything without a car. Story 39. When people express their anger in a graphic manner, it can be alarming. For example, if a girl gets dumped and says, "I hope he gets skinned alive," it raises concerns about her emotional state. I posted a question about this recently, but it seems that few people care. Perhaps many individuals have a darker side. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.